Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I'm turning my YouTube videos into podcast episodes. This is kind of the third pillar for me in my three-pillar content marketing strategy. I'll link you to that video that goes over the broad picture idea of that strategy in the description if you haven't seen it, but my goal is I start with these YouTube videos, then I have them turned into high quality blog posts, and now I need to get a podcast going. I need that MP3 file to live on its own. And the reason I'm doing this is there's a few reasons why I'm doing this. Number one, I want to show up everywhere, right? So I want to show up in the podcast directories, and I want to show up and have more content where other people are. A lot of people don't do YouTube videos, surprise, right? And they listen to podcasts when they're commuting, on the train, etc. It's lower bandwidth, it's easier on their data plans, and you can generally do something else while you're listening to a podcast. You can do the dishes, wash your car, go for a walk. Can't really do that with YouTube videos. So I want to show up for that kind of segment of my audience that I'm not connecting with. The second big reason is I want to create a more multimedia blog post because that's going to help my SEO. There may be, it's debatable, a tiny bit of SEO value getting the link back from where I'm hosting these episodes, but it's really more about having a better multimedia post on my blog, and I think that covers the basics of it. There's probably a few other reasons I haven't mentioned why I'm doing this. It's just the thing to do, and a good note for you, so I'm 14 months on creating videos, and I'm still working on getting this third pillar figured out. It's really important for you to go deep with one publishing method first. That's what I did with YouTube, and now that I've habituated the process of making YouTube videos and it's super easy for me, now is when I'm trying to take on the third one. The big note there is I didn't try to do all three pillars on every single video I've done immediately out of the gate. That would have overwhelmed me. I started with one thing, I got to where I know it by heart and it's easy. I added on the blog, now that's working really well. Now I'm adding on the third one. So this stuff takes time, and we're adding layers onto things incrementally. So don't think you need to do all of it at the same time at once, but when you're ready, this video is ready for you. I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what we're going to do today. So this is a blog post I have about adaptability and perspective, and you can see I've got my Pinterest pin right there to start. I've got my video embedded, and then I've got a lot of text and a few other images. So what I want to do is I want to add an MP3 file podcast episode to this based on this video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to control click to open the video. Let me pause that real quick so it doesn't start playing. And I need the video URL, which I'm going to copy, and this is the tool I use. It's savefrom.net. It's how to download a YouTube video. To find it, literally just search how to download a YouTube video, and you'll see that it's like the second result. So it's the fastest free YouTube downloader, ss.youtube. There's probably one that'll let you save the MP3 directly. I've just been doing it this way, so we ultimately need the MP3, but this one lets me get an MP4. I take the smaller one because it's easier on my computer, and I want to put this in my podcast folder to keep things neat and tidy, and I'm going to cut the title down. 1 second. We're just going to click that, and this is going to download super quickly. So I'm starting with downloading the video file. The next tool I need is VLC Media Player, and you can see that's right here. Now what I do is I click on the media and I go to convert/save. I add the file I just downloaded, which is perspective and adaptability. I'm going to click open, and then I want to convert and save, and it says, what do you want to convert it to? I take this profile link, and I want to switch it over to an MP3. Now for the destination file, I'm going to click Browse, and it's in the right place. So I am going to do So I'm going to do adaptability -2. Now I put the -2 is because I'm going to have to work with this audio file a few times. And when I say I need to work with this audio file a few times, I'm specifically meaning that I'm going to be saving it and renaming it. So it'll make more sense in the future. You can see down here in the progress bar that it is currently ripping the MP3 off. The next tool we're going to go into is an audio editing tool. Now, this is Mixcraft. This is a paid tool. This is something my wife and I have used for years because we make audio meditations. There is a free option available, and that is Audacity. It's just Audacity. It's completely free. It runs on Windows. It runs on Mac. It's going to be a little bit different than what I'm showing you, but at the same time, it's the same thing. It has all of the same functionalities. It may just be a little bit different button that you click. So if you want a free option, Audacity is absolutely fantastic for free. It's really easy to use. We just kind of chose to go with the paid one back in the day. So this is still loading, and I am going to show you my intro and outro files. So I made an intro to my podcast and an outro to my podcast. Now, the intro and outro are designed to help segue people. So when someone finds my podcast and they click play and I say, "Hey, this is Miles Beckler, welcome to the video," they're like, "Video? I'm on a podcast." So it's just a little 10 to 15 second intro. I'm going to play this one for you real quick so you can hear. Let me make sure I don't wipe that out. Okay, that's finished. So you can hear what the intro is. Welcome to the podcast. This episode originally aired as a video on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/MilesB. Super simple, right? It's just kind of an intro, just like a, hey, this is a podcast, kind of an introduction, and then I'm going to edit on my podcast MP3 from there, and the outro matches. I got those sounds from freesounds.org, I believe it is, and I just kind of layered that all together inside of my version of Audacity. So I've got those both saved. I've got my intro and my outro saved, and now I've got my MP3 file, which is the adaptability 2. So the next thing we do is we go in and we actually make this into a file. So there's always going to be like an open media or an add sound option, and that's where I start, and I'm going to double click the intro, and it lays it on the track. Then I'm going to go ahead and double click my adaptability 2. This one's going to take a little bit longer because it's a bigger file, but it's going to lay that on that track right there once it does load. So it's kind of pulling the data, and there it is. And we're going to go with number 3 for the outro. Cool, so that added. The one other thing that I do, I left a little bit too much time here at the end. I'll let you listen to this. Hey, Miles here, Miles back. I like it. That's a good enough amount of time. And then I'm going to go to the end where they match the other side where my outro comes in. And I'm just going to listen to this real quick to see how I want it to be kind of snappy, right? I don't want a long pause. I really do appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you on the next videos. Be well. Perfect. I'll take it. So that's good enough for me there. I think just laying them out. And what I want to do is I want to file and mix down to, and the first one I'm going to do is a WAV. I don't care about saving those changes, so let's do adaptability. Or excuse me, WAV. And there's a reason we're doing a WAV right now, so we're going to save that. And this is going to take a little bit of time to save, not much at all. You can see down here my progress bar is going. So a WAV file has more information than an MP3 file. And ultimately, pause that. You can probably hear that playing in the background. So ultimately, we do want to end up with an MP3 file, but we need to layer more information inside of the file before we get to an MP3. So the next place we go, now that we have our WAV file that has all of our pieces of the puzzle, is this tool called the Levelator. Not only is it a fantastic, it's actually the Levelator 2, how could I miss that? Not only is it a fantastic name of a product, it's completely free. If you just search for Levelator, it's this one right here at conversationnetwork.org/Levelator. They don't actually support this anymore, but what this does is it normalizes the audio throughout the track. So my intro is not really loud, and then my podcast is really quiet, my outro is really loud. It will go through and kind of manage all of that. So how does it work? It's like the easiest thing in the world. So here's my adaptability.wav, and then I click and Levelator's here. I'm going to just drag this file on top, and that's it. And you can see down here, it's got a little progress bar going through, and you can see it's at 27, 28%. So what it's doing is it's normalizing the audio, so the user experience is a positive one. They're not going to have like really loud, they turn down their cell phone, then it goes really quiet, and so on and so forth. So this has to be done with a WAV file. This program will not run on an MP3 file. So that's why we export the WAV file first and we run it through here, and once it's done, which it's about 98, there it is, it's complete, you'll see that it added a new file in the exact same folder that's just .output. right? So now this is my levelated. I just made that word up if you couldn't tell. That's my file that's been levelated. And I'm going to go open a new project in here. And I don't want to save any of these log project files. So click OK. I just run with the basic defaults. And then I want to open and add media of the output file. So this is going to pull the whole media file. You can see down here at the bottom, it's working, and you're going to see it show up. So this is now the levelated media file, and it's kind of made my peaks and valleys all nice and neat. It's just it's a really good way to go about running your audio. Because again, we want to make sure our user experience for the people on the end is great. And that's why I take the time to do this. You know, let me export it first because it's going to take a minute. I'll explain that here in a second. So file, at this point, I want to mix down to MP3. And I don't want to save the changes here. So I'm going to do adaptability. And perspective, MP3. So depending on where you're uploading this, if you have a limit to how many megabytes per month you can upload, you are going to want to edit the actual format here. So you notice this is at 192 kilobits per second stereo, which probably means nothing to you, and it means pretty much nothing to me. What it actually means is it's a really high quality audio file, which means it's a big audio file, which means when a user downloads it and plays your podcast, it's going to use a lot of their bandwidth. It's going to also take time, and it increases the potential of them having to experience buffering. You don't want people to have to buffer your stuff. So what do? We want to get it down to a 96 kilobits per second option. So for me in this, I have a slider, and I was watching up here, and you can see MPEG 2 96 kbps stereo. That's what we want. This is kind of that balance between like low size, but it's still going to have a good audio quality for them. It's like compressing your images before you load it up to your WordPress website. It's a great best habit. It'll make this rendering process go quickly. So I'm going to click OK, and then adaptability and perspective, and I'm going to save this. And you can see down here on the bottom, it is saving that. So it's now rendering out an MP3 file, which we still have another step to work with. But it's really important to give the user a positive experience with your podcast, with your content. That's why I took the time to add the intro, to add the outro to the podcast. This episode originally. And that's my finished product at this point. And now I want to add what are called tags. So the next tool we go into, and this is the last tool, is MP3 tag. This is a free tool. Let me go back to my window here, and I'll show you. So it's mp3tag.de, and it looks like this big old check mark. And essentially what we're going to do now is we're going to add tags to the MP3 file, which is title, artist, and an image. So when it's playing on the user's phone, it looks normal. It's got a nice big image that I control. It's got the title that I want on it. And pretty much that's all the metadata that I'm going to be feeding into the podcast kind of hosting company. And it's going to live on the audio file. Makes, again, a great user experience. And I now need to go to MP3 tag. So here it is, and I want to go to the file itself. So give me 1 second. We're going to click the little arrow to change directory. I'm going to go into my podcast directory, and where are you, file? It is going to take me a moment to find where that file ended up. Okay, it's right there. It's in Desktop Miles Beckler Podcast. And let me actually just close this and reopen it because I did update that. So let's do MP3 tag is the desktop app. Loads up. Perfect, perfect. There it is. Okay, so I just need to reload it. So you can see here I've got my adaptability and perspective MP3. I click on it, and you'll notice over here in the corner, these are all the tags I'm going to add. So the title of the track is first. So it's Keys to Your Success Online. Artist, we're going to put Miles Beckler. The album, I've got that in a little notepad over here. The album I'm keeping consistent. The album is essentially my podcast title, so I'm just going to paste that right in there. Year 2017. The genre I'm going to put as speech, since it's just me talking. The album artist and composer are also Miles Beckler, so let me copy that here. And it'll make sense exactly what we're doing here. And if you've ever downloaded an audio file to your phone and it's just like that default screen and it's like untitled by untitled and you lose it in your categorizing, that's because they didn't do this and we're solving that problem. So this image, this is probably the biggest part down here. You just right click on a PC and you choose add cover. And it's going to allow us to add the cover. This is the cover I made. It's 3,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels. I click open and you can see it's now there. So it's just a big square, 3,000 by 3,000. That's the standard iTunes size for your podcast. And then once you're done, you click up here. I've done this wrong before. I have to make sure it's not currently running in another window, which it was. It auto plays. So I make sure it's not running in any other windows, and then I click save. And there it went. So it kind of gave me the little chime and it says save the tag on one files. And now I can go back to here and you can see now it's got the contributing artist, it's got the album name, all the data is associated. And if I double click it and play, you can see down here it pulls that image I put. So on a phone, this is much better user experience. They're going to see my big image, my kind of podcast image, and we're done at this point. So at this point, I've created an MP3 that is ready to be uploaded for the podcast. Next is, where do you go for your podcasting? And this is something, man, I'm on my, this is not my first location. This is not my first attempt. And I've decided I'm going to start putting out SoundCloud because two reasons. Number one, they have a player that embeds really neatly. I can embed this player. Number two, this that you're looking at, this soundcloud.com/Miles Beckler, this is going to rank well for the search phrase of Miles Beckler. And I'm always wanting to push people off who might be trying to optimize for my name. I'm lucky in the fact that I'm the only Miles Beckler in the world that I know of. So I don't, John Smith, there's gonna be a lot of people like trying to hit that first page for John Smith. So I love having these different assets that I control that are on like high authority other websites. I do get some backlinks from here, right? I got my profile backlink. I got backlinks inside of the content itself. I don't think those are a huge help, but let me go ahead and get this going. So I'm logged in here to SoundCloud, and I've looked at other options. There's a professional one that's syndicated, but they are not supportive, and they're not helping me right now. So I'm using this one. I'm going to choose a file to upload, and I'm going to grab the adaptability and perspective. I click open, and it's going to open it, and you can see it pulls up some of the basic content here, and it automatically gives it quite a long URL. It takes that whole title and puts it in the URL. I'm going to leave that for the genre. I go down here and they have kind of, in the audio, I do business. The tags, I put my main keywords in here, and then the description, I put a bit of a description. So I'm going to fill this out real quick, and then I'm going to come back and give you an update on exactly what I've done, and you can see it's already uploaded and it's processing, and that's partly because we used a very, very small, condensed, compressed file. That's why we did all this. It makes this whole process easy. So give me a couple of minutes real quick, and I'll be right back with you. Welcome back. So I've got this written out. I wrote a few paragraphs of 100% unique content. I really tried to get my additional tags that I put in here inside of the description, so that's repeated there. And you notice I ended it here. I go in further depth on this topic on my blog post. This originated as a YouTube video. So I'm going to go grab those links real quick. And I'm creating or growing my web, right? This is my little web of links that I own and control. And this is just really a best practice because if someone wants to go from SoundCloud to my website, I'm open to helping them do so. Pretty sure these are no-follow links, but that's okay. I want them in there anyways because I do believe Google is tracking and the type of no-follow links we could get in a really geeky conversation about that. So now I've got it up here and I want to load this, so it automatically highlights this for me, the URL, and I'm going to load that and it's going to autoplay. So let me pause that. Cool, so it's up, and this is what I'm talking about. It automatically pulled this nice big image here. It's got my title, who I am, what I am, like all this stuff's kind of filled out. Some of that comes from my profile, and then I want to click the share button down here, and it's going to give me the embed option up top. I like this middle one. I'm going to copy this code here, Now I go back to my blog, I click edit post, and you know, I'm a little rough with how I like put this in there. I just kind of like get it in somewhere. I'm not thinking too much of it. You might want to be a little bit more meticulous. This video explains more, so here's more of my videos. You notice I'm on the text side of things. I'm not using the visual editor. I'm going to take right above the video. So cool. So I just said, if you're on the go, listen to the podcast episode about adapting and perspective here. And then I added just bracket center, and I just added the center tag. You don't even need to do that. It's literally force of habit. But this is essentially what I pasted in, is this iframe tag, and I wrapped it in the center tags. Literally force of habit. I didn't really even need to do that because it's responsive, so it'll match the width and the size. And that's it. So I save this. Now I'm going to click and just take a look and give a little tiny bit of quality assurance here. And I'm going to scroll down. You can see there's my Pinterest pin. Here's my text, blah, blah, blah. Boom. And it's got the SoundCloud right in there. And then it's got the video. I should wrap that in center tags to make it look nice and neat. And there's the content. And that's it. So we literally went through the process live, me doing this step by step. I don't even know how long that was. It was, I don't even think it was 20 minutes, but really, really easy process. And what I've just done is I'm now building out another asset on SoundCloud that will rank for Miles Beckler. It has the ability to rank for all of my main keywords. That SoundCloud is now linking over to my YouTube channel videos. It's linking to me personally, to my blog itself. My blog now has that embedded, so my blog looks like a more multimedia source of information in the eyes of Google, which is one of those little ranking factors that we want to trigger. If I want, I could go back into YouTube and actually link out of YouTube over to SoundCloud and to my blog, but I'm not going to do that in this situation because I don't think YouTube appreciates us trying to get users off of their platform. So I'm going to let this video just stand on its own on YouTube, and I've created kind of a web of links around it. I'm growing a podcast. I'm eventually going to submit the feed for that URL to the iTunes store to try to get this podcast on iTunes. It'll grow on SoundCloud, so now it's open to all SoundCloud users. Eventually it'll be open to iTunes users. Makes my website look better, gives me a new asset that I'm ranking for. Lots of victories here today. I hope you found this to be easy. I hope you found it to be helpful. I will be sure to, I'll put at least the names of the different tools that I used in the description below. I'll put any extra notes on the kind of nuts and bolts. I might even put a little how-to guide in the description below, kind of do this, then this, then this, and write it out so you can just copy it and paste it and have it on a little notepad. It's easy stuff. It's time consuming. I am going to outsource this process to one of my virtual assistants, and I'm going to send them this video to train them. So you can train yourself with the video, train somebody you care about, or somebody who's helping you with the video. And I really do thank you for your time. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up here in YouTube. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I put out great videos. I try to be helpful. That's what I'm after. That's what I do. If you have any questions for me about the 3-pillar marketing strategy, content marketing in general, or what we covered here in this video, that is what the comments are for below. Hit me in the comments. I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next video. Be well.